All right, guys, so let's go over the next licensing opportunity. I know that many of you guys have been waiting for a while for this one, so thank you so much for your patience. I really do think this one's going to pay off, okay? So this is a little segment of the licensing industry, at least in the TV industry, that before I got this gig offered and this sort of request from our new library distribution company, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't even like it was a whole area of programming that I never even considered. But infomercials are huge. You guys have seen them all, these ads seen on TV kind of things. They're annoying. They're on all the time. But guess what you always hear with all those? Music. There's always music playing in the background. And there's a specific kind of music that normally gets played on these ones because these ones are designed to make you buy something, make you call them within the next 15 minutes. You guys know how these things work. But the great thing is that you get long placements because these commercials can be 5-10 minutes long. And if they love your track and you provide a lot of options, remember we provide a lot of options with our tracks that we supply them, you can get massive placements, right? Once you get past that 60-second mark, a lot of times you'll get into that sort of super usage placement where you start bumping up the amount of money that you're making, okay? So like long placements are definitely possible with this. Not only that, how many times have you switched on to TV and there's an infomercial? They play all the time. Yes, they're annoying. Yes, we always try to get away from them. But hey, if they're going to be on TV and annoy you, wouldn't you want to get a little piece of that back end action, right? From the royalties that you can get from that thing. So I think this is awesome. So our new library partner has a lot of connections in this side of the business. I didn't even know that. We just found that out actually being a part of their little group. And this is one of their big areas that they think a lot of people are not really tuning in and tapping into this thing. So they have a little niche that they're really doing well. So I checked out some of the tracks that they have right now and how their library works. I actually think we can provide even higher quality ones than they have. Some of them sound great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing their catalog at all, but I want to go in there with even higher quality than what they have so that they can just kind of push all those other tracks kind of further down and ours kind of come to the front. So when they have new opportunities, new clients that need music for this kind of stuff, we're number one, okay? So you can find all the terms, what I'm paying, what you're gonna get, what you can guarantee, all that good stuff below, okay? All that stuff is there. I'm paying $25 a track for these ones because they are minimal. Typically what I do with you guys, if you know, many of you guys have been in the group before, I normally do 50 for fully produced tracks. These are kind of more stripped down, minimal, corporate tracks, so they're not going to require as much attention to detail in terms of like your production skills and all that kind of stuff. So it's less work. So we're going to cut that down. But the cool thing is when I have sort of a reduced fee that I pay on the front end, it means I can probably accept a lot more tracks than I usually would if I were paying the higher fee, okay? Because I do have a budget that I need to work within to make sure that I'm not going broke in the process of doing this kind of thing. So basically the deadline will be as they come due. Okay, so there is no set hard deadline that I say, okay, I need to have them by then. I'm going to try things a little bit differently this time. I'm going to basically say that your tracks, the sooner you can submit them, the sooner I can give you feedback, obviously. And I'm going to do what I usually do is just give you guys a feedback review video once a week. Maybe I'll do a little bit faster this time because I do want to get these things done before the end of the year. So the sooner I can give you guys feedback, I know the sooner you guys can help me out with that. But basically, as soon as your track is ready, I'm going to say, send me the stems. I'll walk you guys through how to do all that. And we are going to have you guys fill out some metadata and do some things that we haven't done before. So just stay tuned. Don't worry about that for now. For now, just worry about nailing the references, getting right in line with what I want for this opportunity to make sure that you get on the album. And basically, I'm looking for a minimum of 12 tracks, but I am open to many more. So let's say in like a week, I get 12 awesome tracks and I accept all 12. I'm not done, okay? So I want you guys not to feel like, oh, he's already got 10 tracks. He's probably not going to accept mine. No, like 12 is my minimum. So I could go up to 24 if we get that high. I could go even higher. It just depends on how many we get done. Again, I'd like to just see how much we can get within the next couple of weeks, maybe I guess the next month. But I'm not going to set a hard deadline for this one, okay? So the reason for that is I don't want many of you to think you can wait until the deadline to submit. I think that might be what some of you guys are doing, is it kind of puts this procrastination thing in there. Now, if I don't tell you that there's a hard set deadline, but I'm accepting tracks as soon as they are made available to me, I'm going to this is an experiment. We're going to see how it works. Maybe some of you guys will just kick into gear much faster and send me those tracks as soon as possible. So the sooner you can get them to me, sooner I can give you that feedback, and the sooner potentially you can get on this track, okay? Your tracks do need to be mixed and mastered. Don't just rely on me to do that. You need to do everything you can to make sure your tracks are on par with the references that I provide in this opportunity, okay? So let's go over these references, what we're going for. What is this stuff? This is essentially minimal, uplifting, motivational corporate music. Now, when I say corporate, it means that it's kind of, it can be in a couple of different genres. Okay, so it's not necessarily like a pop opportunity or a rock one or soft pop. There's a couple of different genres that it can work in, and we're going to go through all of these examples here to hear sort of the wide range of what you could be doing. But what can be included is rock, like soft rock music. Think like U2 or The Script or Coldplay. Just upbeat, inspirational, motivational, soft rock music can definitely be in there. Some orchestral elements can definitely be included. You can have something that's a little bit more orchestral, but still uplifting, motivational, smooth, that kind of thing. We don't want anything too bright or distracting. We had a gig a couple months back where we did minimal tracks. And I told you these need to be like wallpaper, right? Kind of sitting behind a scene, not grabbing the forefront, not grabbing the attention. Same thing with these ones. We don't need a whole bunch of leads, and I don't think you really need many leads. If you're going to use a lead, it better be very subtle, discreet, not bright, shiny, not distracting, not like harsh, nothing like that. This needs to be kind of emotional wallpaper that can go behind the scenes. Okay, so these are much more subtle, much more subdued. These are not as opposed to our EDM album where we wanted to like grab your attention and get you super hyped up. This one could be more of just emotional atmosphere. That's pretty much what we're doing. Okay, so the rock, we could do the rock stuff, we could do the orchestral stuff, we could do EDM, you could do some electronic stuff. And I think that might have been the three that are covered in here, but we'll see. But anything that essentially gathers this kind of like upbeat, inspirational, optimistic, motivational feeling, we're going to go for that, okay? As usual, 2 to 3 minutes long. Don't have anything repeating over and over again. We don't want copy and paste stuff happening. If you're going to repeat the same progression again, add something new. We need transitional elements. We do need to have some dynamics, of course. We don't want to have some parts that are grooving for a while, other parts that gets a little more subdued, and then we build it back up for the biggest chorus at the end. Just as usual, you guys know the drill with these kind of opportunities, making sure that you have a nice 2 to 3 minute long sort of audio film that people can go on a ride for. Because remember, the editors of these kind of shows can take your verse that's awesome and just copy and paste that thing for 4 minutes if they want to. And that would be awesome because you'd still be getting the placement, okay? So let's go through these references. Now, I've included it as a downloadable link, so you just click that link and you'll get this wave. Basically, what I've done is I've put together an entire collage, a montage of all these reference tracks that I think we need to be hitting. Most of them, actually, we need to be getting higher quality than them. And the reason why I'm using these ones is because these are basically some of our direct competition that gets placements like this. So I want to make sure that we are blowing these ones out of the water. Okay, so even though these are reference tracks, some of them I wouldn't accept actually on this album. So I need to put that little caveat there first, that these are more just to give you an idea of what direction to go in, kind of the vibe, the emotional quality. But some of the production quality, and I'll point that out when I don't like it, we need to do better than some of these tracks. Okay, so just putting that out there before we hit start. Super smooth, right? Mellow, pulsing sins, nice little subtle 4 on the floor kick, strummed guitars, just playing those accent chords. I think there's a little bit of a pad kind of going in the background. Don't get too ethereal and too spiritual, on me. Make sure that it's nice and subtle. It's not too spacey, out there. But you can add something like that to add the atmosphere to it of like sort of wonder and inspiration and feeling good, okay? This is 101 corporate music right here, okay? So this could kind of be, I guess, a little bit in EDM, a little bit in like soft rock, but really corporate is where I would classify this. So, but one thing I'm going to take from this is that like it's a great sounding track, nothing special, right? But it's solid, it's well mixed, well produced, and there's new things happening every 4 or 8 bars. So they're adding new elements all along so that you're not getting stuck in the same chord progression. So you can hear now they have new guitar parts and they have other things happening, so other synths that can go on. So again, it's all subtle though, right? None of that came out and went like super, super loud. None of it did that. It all was very subtle. just add a little texture to it, right? Just think about it. You're adding texture as you go along in the track. And again, some of these might be longer than 3 minutes. Some of them are shorter than 60 seconds. I don't want you to follow these structures. They're just more of an idea for our guideline, okay? So you do need to follow my instructions and my guidelines down below. That's the first and foremost thing. But these references can give you an idea of what kind of stuff gets placed. These tracks have been placed, and they do get placement. So I want to make sure that we are at least nailing this quality, but I think we should get even bigger and better than this. And now here's a part where they kind of strip down all the other stuff going on, so it's a little bit more just the kick and the guitars and maybe a little bit of the pad, so you can obviously mix and match things and kind of keep this interesting thing going on. Also, I would highly recommend you don't just use the same chord progression your entire track through, because it is tricky to use the same chord progression without eventually feeling like you're stuck on some sort of a loop. So maybe you have an A section where you kind of add a bunch of different, variations of it, and then you break it down into a B section, have a different chord progression, and have a bunch of variations on that theme. Then maybe come back to the A for the big finale or something like that. I mean, that's just one idea. But using the same 4 chords for a 2 or 3 minute long song, it can be done. It definitely can. But just so you know, you will run into like repetition issues if you don't take care of that kind of stuff. This is one of those that quality, I'm not that excited about. The drums don't sound that good. There's some timing issues with the guitars. I'm actually surprised this one's gotten placements, but hey, it got placed. But this is just an example of the kind of soft rock thing. It's actually got, for some of you guys that do some of the more that 90s kind of music, this is definitely more of a 90s style kind of a song. So this would be one of those rare situations where a throwback sound actually might work out. So this has got a little bit of that 90s kind of soft rock feel. You hear the timing issues, there's some tuning issues. So like I said, the quality, you're not going to get onto this album if you supply this kind of quality. You got to get better than this quality. But the style, just remember that's what I'm going for here. So there you go, just simple drums, cool loop, some piano playing there. So that's another sort of, it's just corporate rock, I guess, whatever you want to call that. But it's remember, the emotional content is really the most important thing here. All of these are making you feel, that rock one less so, but all the other ones are making you feel inspired, optimistic. You're looking forward to the future. You're looking forward to something, like a problem has been solved. Infomercials, that's what they're selling you. You've got a problem, guess what? We're going to solve it for you. And that's what this music really needs to be selling to you. Gets a little bit bigger for its chorus section, okay? Not huge and massive. We don't need a lot of production going on. That's why these are more minimal. So again, these do need to sit in the background. They don't need to steal the show. And even that one did a key change. So you can absolutely do a key change. I like those bells. Using those kind of tubular bells is cool. Palm muted guitars are really good. This is one of those things that I don't like, that little ride or crash symbol. I hate that. So we don't want to do stuff like that. That's just kind of noisy and it's in there. And I would have definitely asked if that were my composer that I was working with, I would have said, like, take that out of there. We don't want that. Having some transitional elements between like a verse and a chorus, okay, great, do stuff like that. But just in the middle of a section like this, I really don't like that. That part would have been okay because now we transitioned to a different chord, right? But it's happening too often, right? So it's that the same sound effect happening every bar. That's the kind of thing that, tracks like this just to me, they're not going to get as many placements as they possibly could just because of a weird sound like that. Hi-hats I don't like, okay? So again, there's some things about these tracks that I'm just not fans of, so I don't want you to take them and completely rip them off or try to use similar instruments. The style though, right? They're very subtle, they're very subdued, there's not a lot going on, they're fairly simple, but they feel upbeat, they feel motivational, so that's what I want you to take from here. Again, you can do some leads. This one has some cool guitar leads here, but just make them subtle, all right? I don't want them popping out of the speakers. They need to be a little bit darker, a little bit more, not dark in terms of energy, but just, you know, not as bright. You need to cut out some of the high frequencies and not make it so abrasive when it comes out, okay? And make your guitars clean. If you're gonna use live guitars and actually record them, check your tuning, check your timing, okay? Anything not in time and anything not in tune is immediately rejected. It's really hard to record live guitars. It's not an easy thing to do. Again, this is kind of like, I don't know, a little bit of country, a little bit of soft rock. So acoustic and electric guitar combined together, just make sure it's clean. You can absolutely do that. In fact, I know not a lot of you guys will be able to pull a sound like this off. So if you are able to do this, you will find yourself, and you can do it well, obviously, you will find yourself a home on this album, because I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to pull off this sound. It's a really hard sound to pull off. So this kind of like country corporate thing, whatever, with some plucking from your guitar, it's a really hard thing to pull off. But if you can do it and you can nail a high quality track, you've got a home on this album. Again, timing issues. There's some things going on with this track that I'm not a fan of. Not a big fan of those drums. These strings are terrible too. They sound fake, and they just sound like somebody hit them on a keyboard. So just make sure, though, if you're going to do strings, remember, have some dynamics with those things. Make them sing, you know, give them a little bit of dynamics, a little bit of interest, and automate those things. Don't just hit your keyboard. I'm not going to let that stuff go through, because, again, one of the ways that you really stand out in this business is that you do better than what you supply the library you're working with music better than they even have, right? That's how you get into new circles in life. That's how you get into new opportunities that you didn't think you could be a part of before. If you become the go-to person that can completely knock out the competition, guess who they're going to for all their opportunities moving forward. You make them look better, you make their clients happier, and especially if you can deliver this stuff in a timely manner as soon as possible, that's how you impress people. So this is, for us as a group here working with this company, it's going to be great for us, because it's going to be another, we've already knocked their socks off with all the stuff we've already done within the first 2 weeks of really working with them. And this is going to be just another thing that's like, boom, you might as well just get rid of all those other tracks you were working with, because these ones are going to destroy those tracks. That's how I want to approach this, okay? I want to completely knock their socks off with the quality that we provide. Kind of like that U2 feeling, kind of delayed, palm muted, plucked guitars. And again, this has a little bit of that 90s kind of rock sound to it. So again, this one, if that's where you are and that's where you really can shine, this could be a great opportunity for you. great sounding drums though and fills. This is the best one around about 12 minutes. If you listen to this one, that is the quality of drums you should be getting to at least. They sound nice. Really nice. Always have the definite hit ending at the end. Some of these tracks don't have that. Other ones do. But make sure you give me that definite hit ending at the end of your track. That's always. And of course, all the guidelines and details are always below. If you guys have any questions, you can always email me, jesse@musicmakescash.com. You can post a question below. Maybe other people will also have that question so I can answer it for all the members involved. But get me your tracks as soon as possible, okay? So we're doing things differently this time. Once again, no hard and set deadline, but I will accept tracks as soon as I think that they're ready to be put on the album. 12 is the minimum, but we're going to go hopefully much more than that. The more the merrier, actually. And as soon as I feel like we've got a solid album, that's when I'll give you guys a heads up. I'll give you a warning like, hey, we're going to wrap this thing up in about a week. So go ahead and just finish this thing up. So it kind of depends on how hard and how fast you guys get in your tracks to me. If you guys nail this right away, it won't last that long. If you guys are kind of taking a little while to get your tracks up to me and we do that, it'll take longer. But just so you guys know, I'm going to be on the album too. I'm going to make some tracks for this thing because I think this is going to be a huge opportunity for my income and for my royalties moving forward. So thank you guys in advance for your hard work. This is going to be an awesome opportunity. And stay tuned. We actually have other opportunities that will be coming through the door as well. I'm just kind of finalizing those details. But for now, this is 100% where our focus needs to be. This gig, this awesome opportunity that's right in front of us to do some great things.